political climate has been traumatic for everyone, as we all know, including First Lady Melania Trump. Here's how she wants to spend the holidays. Take a look.
If you could spend a holiday in the war, where would you go?
I would spend my holidays on deserted island, tropical island with my family.
I don't blame her. Is this code for get me as far away from as possible? From Denture, Donald, and Hansen Fritz, do you think?
I laughed how she was answering before the question was finished. She's like, I got this one. I can get on board with that. How amazing.
Yeah. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. But the thing is, she never asked for this life. She's a private person. She would, I think
well, when you marry Donald Trump, you know you're on a roller coaster of some sort.
I mean, but if you're going to a deserted island, you don't want to be found, and you don't want to come back either. So
she should have picked a place with like a nice hotel or something. Like deserted island seems like there's going to be work involved. A tropical island.
With your family.
Yeah, like coconut climbing for food and stuff.
You don't want to work for your food.
To work. She wants Barron to come, I guess.
Barron to come. Well,
do you think she wants Ivanka to come?
She said her family.
No, she didn't mention who that was.
It's very open-ended.
That was the follow-up question. His 10-year-old reporter did not ask.
Maybe she'll fly them in from Slovenia. So it looks like Christmas came early for Jeff Sessions because Senator Al Franken announced he was stepping down, but not before taking a few parting shots. Let's take a look at that.
Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently. I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
So a little before he leaves.
Little parting shot. I think this is brilliant politics by the Democrats, though, because they are taking the higher, they're trying to take the higher moral ground. Of course, it is political, it is politics, but it's a smart move because what it does, yes, Representative Conyers had to step aside, and now we see Al Franken stepping aside, but it forces us to have a conversation about Donald Trump. It forces us to have a conversation about Roy Moore because the Republicans can't run anymore.
I would go along with that, but, you know, a lot of times the Democrats take high road like this, and the Republicans say, thanks, suckers.
Yeah, but I agree.
Not this time.
I think what's so interesting is, you know, the Republican Party has always been the party of family values. And you really can't claim family values when you throw the full support of the Republican Party behind an alleged child molester. You just can't do that. And there was this incredible op-ed written by David Brooks of the New York Times. It was called "The GOP is Rotting."
I read that, yeah.
And he said, you don't save Christianity by betraying its message, because Jesus asked, what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and suffer the loss of his own soul? And that's the problem. Where is the soul of the Republican Party when you're throwing your support behind things that are really immoral? You know?
Well, I think what's interesting, first of all, I don't want to get away from the fact that there are 8 accusers against Al Franken, which is significant. It's not like there was just one. One of them happens to be a friend of mine. I was up this morning. I flipped through all morning shows. I watched a little bit of each, and I actually caught Mika Brzezinski talking about this, and I thought this clip was worth playing on the show.
I would think a dress owned by Monica Lewinsky would bring down a president, but it didn't. So I'm surprised that you think a comedian's picture of a performer, Playboy model who goes on Hannity, who voted for Trump. You know, I see some politics there, but I haven't brought that up.
Well, you just did bring it up. But,
So she's
I found a real
about
problem
that
with
Tweeden
this.
What's her first name? I forgot.
Mika?
No, not
Leanne
Mika.
Tweeden.
Yes, who's been on the show.
Tweeden,
She's
right.
also
She was
a
on our
friend of
show.
mine.
She was the first accuser of Al Franken.
And I'm
Just
not
to be
okay
clear.
with Mika's comments there, because the reason women didn't come out 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is they felt they would be like slut-shamed, or, you know, it's people that someone's gonna ask you what you were wearing or what did you do to do this. That's actually feeding what was the problem originally. So I don't think people should ever be bringing up other instances that went on, because we had her here, and I've always said, listen to each case. I found her very credible, and Al Franken did say about her, I remember one part of this differently than her, but I apologize. I see the picture, and now I realize it's not okay.
And she accused him of forcibly kissing her, and also we've all seen the picture of she's asleep, right, in a military uniform. There it goes. And he's sort of simulating grabbing her.
I think when I watched this morning, I've been on Hannity. I've been in Playboy. I have my clothes on in the photo, but I have a beard in Playboy.
When did that happen?
I have my clothes on. It was for their 40 Questions interview, and it was more scandalous than anything I've done in my life. I guess just a Republican. I have my clothes on. My mother approved of the photo. It's not that exciting.
This is one people read the article on. She said her clothes are on.
My clothes are on. But I have appeared in Playboy. I have, and I have been president. And I also, the only reason why, people know my nuanced feelings on Trump, but I am a Republican and I vote Republican, so I fit into these categories as well. So if I'm sexually assaulted by a Democrat, is my experience now negated?
Right.
And I don't know what her posing in diminished. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what Leanne posing in Playboy literally has to do with anything at all.
I agree with you. Do. I do.
Okay.
I agree with that. What she's really referring to maybe is the Hannity part where she knows
voting for Trump.
That it's voting for Trump.
Yeah,
I think it was political, right? And that's the thing. We've often talked about the fact that this sexual harassment, it's not a left-right issue. It's a right or wrong issue. So it shouldn't be along party lines. But I will say, I saw Tom Arnold's tweet, and he said, I'm disappointed with my friend Leanne Tweeden. Her partner at KABC, John Phillips, is a Roger Stone pal, and they coached her for weeks to bring Al Franken down. He also said, I'm Me Too, and don't doubt any other woman, but the Leanne Tweeden, John Phillips, Roger Stone lies and setup of Al Franken were part of a larger smear campaign against Al, initiated at the same time Leanne came out. I have proof. Leanne knows it. It's a disservice to victims.
That's a tweet.
But then you're saying
it was like several tweets.
But then you're saying that the seven other. But then what do you say about the other 7 accusers? Because there were 8. I want to go back to Mika Brzezinski and what she said.
Interesting that Tom Arnold
It's interesting, but it's
I think Tom Arnold also claims there's like smoking gun videos from The Apprentice that never showed up. I don't know Tom Arnold. I don't know what he's talking about. But
are they friends?
But I do know Leanne Tweeden. She's a friend of mine. That's why she came on the show. I vouch for her character. I vouch for what she said. There's photographic evidence. I hate that there is this nastiness, desecration of character going against her just because she was a model. She is so deeply dedicated to the troops. That's how she got in this position to begin with, because she was on a USO tour. And I think when you're playing politics with victims of sexual assault, when I saw it this morning, I was like, I fit into these categories that you're talking about as well.
We shouldn't
fit into the Playboy category, Megan.
No,
she was dressed. So what?
But it's a provocative. It fits under the same blanket. I just think, and again, I don't care if you are a hardcore porn star. If you're sexually assaulted, you're sexually assaulted.
Can I say one thing about Mika? Wait, before me, the one thing I want to say is, I've said every time you take it case by case and read the articles, listen to the people, she sat here and I found her very credible. I believed her. And she even said, I'm not calling for him to step down. I just want to speak up because,
I just want to say that I have the utmost of respect for Mika Brzezinski, but the problem with that argument is because, yes, she was in Playboy, you're going to diminish what she has to say, and because she voted for Trump. If you're going to use that same argument, then what are you going to say to the 8 Roy Moore accusers? The majority of them voted for Trump.
Yeah, I know.
So does that negate?
It shouldn't be political. I think she was making a political argument. She was saying
but
that
it
this
contradicts.
Is
if she's not going to believe Leanne Tweeden because she voted for Trump, then maybe she shouldn't believe the Roy Moore accusers because they voted for Trump.
Isn't she allowed to say, well, do you have to believe every single woman who makes an accusation? When we come back, let's talk about that. We'll be right back.
Later, talked out of sex. The worst things you can say to a guy in the sack. Are the ladies guilty of any poison pillow talk? Next week, Christmas comes early to The View.
I love Christmas. Don't you love Christmas?
Yeah, Joy, and we love a fiery political view, too. Especially when Joe Biden hits the table. And you know Joe's always got something to say. But that's not all.
There's more.
Anthony Anderson, Jimmy Fallon, Gwendolyn Christie, and Nick Jonas. Plus, we've got a holiday treat that'll make you stand up and sing.
Baby, please come home.
It's a very merry view. Next week on ABC. Still ahead, GMA's Ginger Z's storming The View.
Before we go back back to that other conversation, we happen to have gotten a picture of Meghan in Playboy magazine.
Beautiful.
Look at that!
I need to say, this was a while ago. It was a long time ago. And I have to say that it wasn't the photo that got so much attention. I talked about sex as a conservative, and it got a lot of attention.
So, I have a newfound adoration for you. I really am enjoying this.
Being a conservative, though, you had to have taken a lot of grief for
I
that.
got a lot. I mean, the most grief I've ever gotten for anything in my entire life.
Really?
But I have to say, I did it because it was 40 questions, and this sounds a little naive, but they're really amazing political interviews that have been done in Playboy.
Yeah,
I
amazing.
implore you, go read James Rosen's interview of Dick Cheney. It's incredible. Like Hunter S. Thompson, incredible. And I thought that I didn't think it was as racy as it ended up being. Anyway,
this idea about being, surprised about conservatism. We have the horniest Christian on the panel here.
Who are you talking about?
That's so true. Obsessed with sex.
That's true.
Kind of.
And there are studies that say that conservative women actually have better sex than liberal women.
Hallelujah.
I read that.
Why do you think that is?
Just because we're shouting amen?
No, it could be. Oh, God. Yelling, oh, God. No, I think they just have more money. They're more relaxed. So the GOP is... Oh, well, let's go back to the... Oh, wait, before we get to this other... Before we get to this other guy... Well, let's finish one quick conversation about, do we have to believe all the women? That was the question I posed before.
I'd like to believe all the women.
You'd like to, but will you
I
or do you have to?
I think we should.
Do you feel that there's some kind of pressure that if we say, like Mika Brzezinski says, well, I'm not so sure about this one, that women will turn on you?
Look, I prosecuted child sex crimes, crimes against women. It's a very difficult process to go through when you accuse someone of something, and I think that we need to stand behind women. The reason that rapes and sexual harassment are the least reported crimes in our country is because women are afraid that they will not be believed and that they will be shamed. And we need to change that.
Your answer is believe everybody.
I say that you have to hear them, and then any accusation has to be looked into. Because if you've ever been on the end of a false accusation, that's also damaging.
Well, what they have on Al Franken is that picture.
Well,
they don't have any.
But I'm not even talking specific cases.
Yeah.
I'm saying if someone has the right to go and say I've done something to them, I have a right to defend myself. So I think that the point is, I just think everyone deserves to be heard. They need to be looked into, and
I think statistically, you'll find that most women do not lie about sexual harassment.
But we have the big Rolling Stones article and people that have gotten it wrong.
I think due process is important, but I think we don't have to character slander the women who are coming out as well for their life choices up to this point. Again, like, that's where I have the problem with it.
There's always that argument about when, God forbid, a woman gets raped, what was she wearing, all of that.
Yeah, it's wrong.
But it's like the accused with Jodie Foster. Like, she was a promiscuous woman in a bar, and the whole point of the movie is she did not deserve to be raped.
Yeah.
So I think it's a dangerous narrative to start. What I'm saying is, if you're going to accuse someone, there have people that have gone down in modern history for other accusations that were proven false, but their name was already dirtied and they never came back from it. So I think it's also something where you always should have due process.
Here's another GOP congressman who's losing his seat right now. Arizona's Trent Franks. He says he'll resign over allegations that he asked 2 female staffers to have his baby as a surrogate. The House Ethics Committee was looking into whether this is sexual misconduct. Is it? His wife does have fertility issues.
They had twins from
a previous surrogate.
Okay, but you can't go to your coworker and be like, hey, will you be my baby mama? I mean, you
don't know that he said it like that.
He didn't say,
that's what he's asking.
He didn't ask to have sex with anybody. I don't know if this is sexual misconduct. It's inappropriate.
It's a little much. Can you imagine asking, someone like, hey, can I have a little bit of your sperm because I'm having some problems?
I think you have to remember in the context.
Brian, what do you think?
Maybe. It's Christmas.
Brian, I don't even know how that comes up, though. I mean, like at work,
a sensitive
you have a
topic.
coffee break, you're in a meeting. Like, where do you?
Also, there are probably
go
young
this
women
way?
working for him, and I know so many people who work on Capitol Hill. So many young women that are just trying to get ahead, and it's so uncomfortable if you're like his policy advisor, and you're like, oh, hey, I want to talk to you about Iran, but hey, you're still a woman. Can I talk to you about your womb? It's highly inappropriate.
It's kind of creepy.
It was creepy enough that they went to the ethics committee and they filed complaints, right?
And also, when they start to investigate this, maybe they'll find that he was much more lascivious in the way he approached them.
He
I don't know.
apologized and said he regretted it.
But
don't you have to
did
be
he ask
really...
them for? Did he want to have this?
He says,
Did he want? All right. go ahead.
Absolutely never physically intimidated, coerced, or had or attempted to have any sexual contact with any member of my congressional staff. However, I do want to take full and personal responsibility for the ways I have broached a topic that, unbeknownst to me until very recently, made certain individuals uncomfortable.
Wait, but
The way he broached it.
There's a lot of
That never crossed your mind?
I'm sorry I made you feel uncomfortable. They're not. They haven't got the ability to reverse roles with the woman to see how it feels when someone grabs you
Or asks you
someone
for your
grabs you.
sperm.
Yes, or even asking you to
for
be
your
a surrogate.
womb.
Yeah.
But
It's-
women are so much more complex than our reproductive systems, and to like sort of make a young woman, I assume they're younger, feel that like the only worth she has to him on Capitol Hill in Congress is if you possibly could have his child. Give me a freaking break. Also,
Very
way to make
sad.
my hometown look good, Trent Frank.
Also, Democrats, he's such a hunk. Democrats and Republicans are dropping like flies. Franks, Conyers, Franken. It's getting so bad. This was the scene at the Capitol Hill Christmas party this year. So sad. Oh, lonely guys. So lonely. We'll be right back.
It was the time before Christmas, and at the View store,
There were mugs and cool clothes.
must have merch, and much more.
This promo's so fun. It's festive and rhymey.
You want to talk rhymey? What did you buy me? This is it? This is the gift?
I love you.
Yeah, I see you spared no expense. Take it back.
Get in the spirit at the View store online for great holiday gift and see how good the View looks on you.
I just love the holidays.
So there are things that no guy wants to hear a woman say during sex, apparently. And Reddit thread had men post the worst things they've ever heard. So things like, hurry up, they hate that. Let's make a baby.
Oh.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I always think the worst is like, that was the best 10 seconds I've ever had.
Only 10?
What do you think?
I've been known to say we've got like 3 or 4 minutes, because if I'm up really early on a Sunday for GMA, I'm up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But I understand he has his needs, and you can't. I don't want him to start something that we
It's
can't
not going to
finish.
get the engine running.
I know, but you know, sometimes my needs don't line up with his needs.
Right.
But you got to make it
Maybe
happen.
you should keep your needs less vocal in that
My
moment.
knees or my needs?
So what do you
What
say
is
to
it,
him?
my needs?
Your needs.
Oh.
So what do you say to him when that? When,
We're like, we got
when you're
3 or 4
not-
minutes. Can we make it happen?
No,
He's like,
it's
sure.
better if you say nothing, and then just
say that.
it goes
Yeah.
for 3 or 4
He's
minutes.
never objected.
I've never met a man who doesn't love a quickie. Come on. that's right. You were in Playboy. Vouch for that.
Well, I understand that, like,
in Playboy.
Sonny and I are like, get past the topic. I don't want to. It's different because my mother-in-law watches this show and my mother watches this show.
My mother
I don't
watches
want
it
to talk
too.
about it.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about having sex with my husband on television.
No, I know. It's so uncomfortable, right?
But I will say that anything having to do, I know someone who answered the phone during sex. No,
Okay.
no one I know who
who
answered the
doesn't
phone
do
when they
that?
were having sex, and I
Everyone
think
does
that's
that.
bizarre.
No, you should never
Really?
answer the phone.
You don't
It
have
could be your parents.
Look, it could be your child having a nervous breakdown. You have to answer the phone.
Both are a big turn off.
I'm sorry.
You
My
have to be
priority.
focused, whether it's 10 seconds or if it's an hour. Be focused. Don't check your phone.
Sonny, if you
Instagram.
are in the middle,
Sonny.
here I go. If you're in the middle and the phone rings and it could be one of your kids, would you answer the phone?
Yes, I would.
See?
Sonny!
I knew that she'd say that.
I would.
I know, Sonny.
I would.
Any
You're so
emergency can wait
responsible.
10 minutes.
No.
She's
Does
too responsible.
Manny care?
No,
I
no.
mean, does he?
Oh God, he would hate that.
They all hate it.
Yeah,
They
no,
know.
but I would.
I mean, does he care that you talk?
Oh my gosh. The View is played in hospitals around around the country. So he like operates at a couple of hospitals
"That's my wife."
in Manhattan, and he'll say, "So the operating room nurse told me that you said it's horrible."
The only thing is when Alexa answers and no one was talking to her because she wanted.
that
you
happened.
like,
That happened.
yes, it was like, sorry, I didn't understand your request. I was like, shut up.
Okay. Here's another thing that concerns men. Do you guys keep having the same fights over and over with your husbands?
Yes.
There's this. There's an article that absolutely confirms that people just keep saying it's like what's that Groundhog Day?
Groundhog's Day.
Same thing over and over.
My husband and I have been fighting about toilet paper.
Oh yeah.
For 20 freaking years.
And he texted you about the kind
Remember
of toilet
he texted me recently?
Yeah, and I
so
like that.
When we first got married, he was like, we hadn't lived together, so it was all new for us. And he was like, you know what, Sonny? You use a lot of toilet paper. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I've seen you. You wrap your hand around. Yeah, he's like, you wrap your hand. And I was like, you know what? No. Like, I'm 30 years old. I use my toilet paper.
Wait a second. You told us yesterday you
got
were
married.
50. So for 20 years, he's been nagging you about this?
Toilet paper.
Oh
so
my
then
God.
just recent, so we got into a huge argument.
Now
he sends me a text message that I showed Sarah. He's like, you know what? I'm making an executive decision. The toilet paper that you buy is very cheap. And I'm sick of you buying the cheap toilet paper. I was like, you have an issue with toilet paper.
The emphasis here is, right? The part that's offensive to me is he said the toilet paper you buy, which means you're handling it.
Yes.
And now he's criticizing.
And I agreed to handle it because he says I use too much. So I'm like, I'll buy all the toilet paper in the house.
Well, you know what? You're supposed to buy the cheap toilet paper. You're supposed to buy the cheap toilet paper because otherwise it's going to plug the pipes.
Oh,
that's a good argument.
That's exactly why.
You don't buy fluffy toilet paper.
You don't buy fluffy toilet paper.
You do it like that.
I don't care.
So how much money you saved him on plumbers?
I've saved a lot.
You saved a lot of money.
Getting back to the topic of the same fight, a therapist would tell you couples do a dance. You're not going to change the other person, but if you never change yourself and how you approach it, they're always going to react the same. So it's called your dance. You fight a certain way, you miscommunicate a certain way, so it sets them off.
Right.
Well, how do I change about the toilet paper?
I think she was addressing issues that were a little more cerebral.
Don't you have separate bathrooms? In which case,
No.
well, you need that.
share the same
You need to
flush
right
the
back.
pipe down the toilet.
Welcome back. It's time for All I Want for Christmas is You. Check out this season's most stylish gift, the Amazon Echo. It's hands-free camera and style assistant powered by Alexa. And I got a chance to see her in action. First, I asked Alexa to take my picture because I couldn't decide if I should wear a blazer over my dress. I submitted both photos to Style Check, and Echo Look had a strong opinion that the blazer was working for me. Right up here. So thanks to Amazon, members of our audience can use the Echo Look as their personal style assistant.
Wow.
Because you're getting one valued at $200. It's that easy, so good luck.
I love Alexa.
And you get an Echo. And you get an Echo.
I know. I love Alexa.
Alexa is your best friend.
I love Alexa.
So,
She's very responsive.
Listen, we have little time for one more topic,
Okay.
because apparently curious kids ask 73 questions a day.
Too many.
70, and experts compiled the toughest things kids are asking their parents, like what happens when you die. I hate that one.
That's a rough one.
I hate that one. Is there a God? That's a
rough
How would you
one.
answer? I mean,
I'm going through
it's like, who needs all these questions? Who are you, Barbara Walters?
I know. I've been sharing this with you guys. I'm going through with my 15-year-old son, is there a God? And you can imagine in our home, our Catholic home, where we go to church every Sunday and we go to church on holy days of obligation, my husband and I were both kind of horrified. But I've done all this research now, and I know the people of faith, including like St. Thomas Aquinas, always question.
Yeah.
You should question your faith. You have to ask questions.
The question is if you know the answer.
Well, I said to him what my mother said to me when I questioned, which was, you can't see the air that you breathe, but you believe that it's there.
Love.
and you can't see love, but he was like, whatever. Like, he just...
I think the death
didn't
ones,
work.
the death ones are going to be harder because I think even at my age, I still try to comprehend death and what it means and where people go. So when a child looks at you and says that, and you're like, Mommy doesn't know. Like,
Alec will ask you when, like, a pet fish dies, and then you just... Don't answer it. Just get a new pet
my
fish.
sister did that. She had 8 burning fish.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
and that's not a good idea.
That's what I did.
That's what
I don't think that's a great idea.
Why is that? The thing about death, though, you can't tell them.
It sounds as if humans and other animals are replaceable. They're not.
No,
when you die, we can't put another sunny there.
Tell them.
You fake it out. You fake the kid out.
You don't tell them there's a new fish.
We had underfish.
That's avoiding
for about 5 years.
Exactly, Joy.
They say the worst
That's
thing
exactly
you
what
can
I'm
do.
doing.
But it also
Don't avoid the worst thing you can do is tell your kid that if somebody dies, oh, they just fell asleep for a long time. They say you have
that?
No, but you have to be. No, but you have to be. Well, you can go to heaven, but you have to be open and honest. And my thing is, if your kids are old enough to ask you those questions, if they're asking them, you have to be willing to have an answer.
No,
otherwise,
fish.
they're going to go around. No, you don't get the fish.
Look-alike fish.
Look-alike fish.
With fish, the dogs are harder.
I thought I was going to share what does it mean to be a Republican was what I asked. That'd be a real complicated question to answer right now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back.
GMA meteorologist and Dancing with the Stars alum, Ginger Z, next.
Hey, everybody.
If you're a fabulous fan of The View, get this.
It's that time of year again, and I got you the perfect stocking stuffer.
Ooh, and you're going to need one giant stocking, because we're giving away awesome gifts and epic trips. Stuff so good, it'll leave you singing, All I Want for Christmas is You.
Good one.
Happy holidays from The View. So visit us on Facebook, like our page, and find out how to enter. Monday, Blackish star Anthony Anderson. Comedian Tig Notaro on how the comedy world needs to handle sexual misconduct in the wake of the Louis C.K. scandal. And wrap up your holiday shopping on a brand new View Your Deal.
ABC News chief meteorologist Ginger Z is talking about a lot more than the weather these days because she's confronting the demons of her past in her candid new memoir, Natural Disaster, I Cover Them, I Am One. Please welcome our friend and colleague, the fabulous Ginger Z. Just quick, give us an update on the fires in California. They're just raging out of control.
This is my job, so I got to get this right in. Almost 150,000 acres burned just in those fires around Los Angeles. The wind speeds have gone 60 to almost 90 miles per hour just this week. The San Diego fire has destroyed 65 homes. So it's not just one fire that we're watching, and all weekend the winds gust back up, and it does not look any wetter or any less windy until really, late next week.
No rain in sight?
No,
Wow.
no, we are stuck in this ridge.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
And Ginger, I noticed that every time one of us has a baby, the other one does too. I've actually,
we're on schedule. Way to go, Haynes.
They're like, do you plan that? And I was like, do you know how hard it is to get pregnant?
No planning, but it seemed to work out for us.
It does work out for us. Now, we are turning into a family of 4 as well.
How? And so he was laying on my stomach and he got kicked. He got
a little
bumped. And then he was like, he looked at my stomach. Now, what is that? So I
get ready. Those kicks get harder over the years.
I think he's starting to understand. I think it's just beginning.
That's so cool. Well, we want to say congratulations because if you haven't read her book, it's already a bestseller. Natural Disaster, I Cover Them, and I Am One. And Ginger, you and I go back 11 years, back to our days in Chicago at the affiliate there. And I knew that you were a hot mess in the dating department, but I honestly, I had no idea that you were struggling with so many of these demons, especially, with depression. But you really, page 1, this is a page turner. You really get out of the gate fast. Why'd you want to start the book this way?
And I start the book by telling everyone that 10 days before I started my job here at ABC News, I checked myself into a mental health hospital. And that's going to be shocking to even people close to me in my life. But that's what I wanted the book to be about. I did not want people to open it and say, oh, that's a nice start, or No, I want to talk about mental health challenges because so many people in our nation do that, have it. They know someone that has it. It affects so many families. And for me, it took that huge step of committing myself, getting over the embarrassment, saying, I'm ready to be transparent and put this out here. I have a problem. And once I did that, I got better. So it shouldn't be any different than somebody with high blood pressure or somebody that has heart disease.
Of course.
They say, I have heart disease, I'm going to go to the doctor, and I'm going to get help.
Yeah,
and that's what I did.
You've been so raw and unfiltered. You jump right into that tornado. But you talk in the book about being in an emotionally abusive relationship. You were drinking too much. You even tried to take your own life at age 21, all because of this depression, this deep depression you were in. What are some ways that people can read your book that they can get out of their own funk?
A lot of this happened while you knew me, and that's the funny part is you knew I was messy in that dating department, but I put on that big smile like so many of us do when things aren't going right. The first thing is be honest with yourself. Be honest and stop putting that mask on. So I think that's a big tip. Also, there's something that I learned. You just have to make a checklist. Every day, if something's getting me to that point of upset, angry, frustrated, I make a checklist and I say, is this going to matter tomorrow? Usually it's no. Is it going to, and if it's yes, then I say, is it going to matter in a week?
It's true.
It's usually no.
Perspective.
And it definitely won't matter in a year. I mean, almost nothing matters. That sounds bad coming from someone who you're talking about suicide. I don't mean it that way. I mean that the perspective, Joy said it. And so, and the final one is putting a fence up. So I used to absorb people's emotions.
Yes.
Megan's upset. I'm going to let her be upset. I'm going to ask her to help her, but I'm going to not allow that to come into my area on my side of the fence. So that's the other tip that I've been living with and in a joyous way ever since I got help.
You're very brave.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Ginger, lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
You're a brave girl.
Thank you.
You can see,
And it's a great book.
you can see her weekdays, you know this, on Good Morning America, right here on ABC. Her book, Natural Disaster, I Cover Them, I Am One, is available now, and members of our studio audience are going over the copy.
And photo ops this time of year, everyone wants to look their best. And right now, we're getting some expert help from dermatologist Dr. Doris Day. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
There's nothing I like to talk about more than skin, so this is good. Dr. Day, everybody wants to look their best, especially around the holidays. So you're working with our sponsor, Galderma. Help us.
Well, you're right. Everybody wants to look their most beautiful best for the holidays. And the great news is there's so much you can do that doesn't involve surgery. But it is important to see your doctor to know the right treatment for you, to know the risks, the benefits, the side effects. And it's also important to be over 21.
Okay. Now, first up, we've got Faith, who is in her 30s. Tell us about her. We're going to have some before shots, too.
Well, Faith is beautiful to begin with. She's young, she has great genetics, but she wanted a little bit more enhancement of her lips. She wanted more definition, a little bit more fullness, but she wanted to look natural. So I chose a product for her called Restylane Silk, and I delivered it with a cannula. This is a blunt needle, and what's great about that is that it helps lower the risk of side effects like bruising and swelling and tenderness that can happen. And if you look at her after, she looks so beautiful. And what's great is you want the two sides of your lips to be identical, not just symmetric. So the two sides of the cheeks can be similar, but the lips should be identical. So we created a subtle enhancement, definition, fullness, and her proportions of her face are more balanced. So she's going to continue to age more beautifully.
Now, is this something you have to maintain? Like, how often will she have to do this?
So treatments last about 6 months, but it varies from person to person.
Okay, you look beautiful, Faith.
She does.
Okay, next up, well, hypothetically speaking, let's just say you're in your 40s, you're a mom, I have a friend, you're not feeling your best self. What can they do?
So in your 40s, you start to lose some volume, and you kind of see it before other people do. So when we look at the befores, you can see that she's really sinking around the nasal labial folds and the marionette lines. So we used a product called Sculptra Aesthetic.
Okay.
And what this does is it helps restore your body's own natural collagen. She had 4 sessions. The results last about 2 years. So she may come in every year or so just to top it off. But you can see the after is quite dramatic. She's softer. She looks natural. She looks more beautiful. But you really can't tell what she's done. So when we do our jobs well as aesthetic physicians, what we notice is that our patients look better, but we're invisible. You can't tell what they've had done. They just look beautiful.
Yeah, the last thing you want to look like is you got something done.
I think so too.
Now, we're going to meet Jill next, who is in her 50s, and I think we have some before shots of Jill. Jill doesn't look 50.
Right. So Jill is the definition, the new definition of what I call 50 is the new 50. That it's not that you're trying to look younger, you just look beautiful, and I sometimes think that
older is better. And Jill is proving that. But what she didn't like was that she had some etched in lines around her nasolabial fold. She wasn't so much sinking as she didn't like those lines that were appearing to be etched in. So for Jill, who's so beautiful, I picked a product.
Jill, you started pretty well.
She did. She's taking great care of herself. So we used a product called Restylane Refine.
Okay.
This is a hyaluronic acid filler, and it's a flexible gel filler. So what I love about that in the nasolabial fold is that it's a dynamic area. When you're moving and talking, you don't want to be able to see the product. And if you look at Jill's after, you can see that her whole face looks more imbalanced, more proportioned. You don't necessarily notice the lines are there or not there. You just notice she looks
like
great.
Subtle.
And that's what I go for, is that subtly dramatic look where you look better, you age more beautifully, and you feel great about yourself.
So this will last as she ages. Okay.
So this lasts about a year, but results vary from person to person, obviously. But yeah, it's a great filler.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big thanks officially to Dr. Day and our sponsor, Galderma. For more information on any of this information, check out our website. And always check with your doctor before considering any medical procedure. Have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view.